So, I don't watch AEW Dynamite for last night, December 23rd, 2020, and it turns out that NBA Twitter absolutely went in on Chris Jericho for his physique, what he looks like nowadays, what's happened to Chris Jericho, and really what I'm going to go through as far as some of these tweets from the NBA community and the casual audience. What I'm going to go through with this is, well, for one, the tweets themselves, but two, and more importantly, the main takeaway from this, and this really, like what we see from NBA Twitter here, which I'll go through, really proves everything I've been saying for months now. So, without further ado, I'm going to read some tweets. Now, in case you're unaware of the situation, All Elite Wrestling aired Dynamite following the NBA last night. Because the NBA season is now back, last night was the second night of games, the first night in which pretty much every team was playing. We had an NBA on TNT game, Wednesday Night Basketball, Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks. That game, final score was 122, 120 to Boston, so high scoring game. You know, AEW Dynamite follows that game up on TNT. So Dynamite comes on the air, and we begin Dynamite with Chris Jericho and MJF, the Inner Circle, facing Top Flight. Now, Chris Jericho, obviously, he was competing in this match, and NBA Twitter, who were, the NBA community, the NBA casuals who were watching from Boston versus Milwaukee, they stayed around to watch AEW on TNT, which, that's a W. But of course, Chris Jericho's physique was on show, and that was a big issue for a lot of people. I'm just going to read some of these tweets. Jesus Christ, Chris Jericho looks effing awful, LMAO. My man Chris Jericho got a beer belly. Bro, Chris Jericho need to get out the ring. Dude lost it, lol. Chris Jericho is still wrestling. He ought to be ashamed. And WTF is AEW. Chris Jericho is fat as bleep. These are so many. Is Chris Jericho's new persona supposed to be Bret Michaels? Can't believe Chris Jericho is still fighting. Dude is old, fat, and slow now. Lol. Yo, Chris Jericho done gone fat. This AEW bleep funny as hell. Why am I watching a pudgy Chris Jericho wrestling? I can't believe Chris Jericho is still wrestling. He's built like Miss Trunchbull. Just this stuff is it's a complete roast session. Bruh, what is Chris Jericho doing on this bootleg AEW wrestling league? And why wrestlers' bodies fall off so bad? And then there's some crying emojis. Chris Jericho, a king in this knockoff WWE, huh? Celtics win and Chris Jericho is fat. Good vibes only. Chris Jericho fat as hell. Chris Jericho looks awful. That's about like 15 tweets. You get the point. I don't need to keep reading them. Basically, NBA Twitter, casual NBA fans who are watching the overrun and watching Dynamite following the NBA, casual basketball fans saw Chris Jericho, saw AEW, and were laughing. This is why I make a point constantly about the physiques of wrestlers. Because as much as people, and especially the smart, the match-loving community, want to forget about what these wrestlers physically look like, and instead want to focus upon what they can do in the ring and like technical wrestling ability, as much as those type of fans emphasize that, and particularly the AEW hardcore fans, as much as those type of fans really, take pride in that, the fact of the matter is, we saw it right here with the NBA community. We saw it right here with the casual wrestling community. You put guys who don't look like wrestlers, who don't look like tough dudes who can beat you up, you put them on your wrestling show, and you're gonna be laughed at by the casuals. Okay, pro wrestling in and of itself in 2020 is a joke. Okay, people, if they want to watch fighting, they're gonna watch UFC. People, if they want to watch another version of fighting, they're gonna watch boxing. Pro wrestling is near the bottom of the ladder as far as watching like fighting. Okay, pro wrestling, everyone pretty much knows what it is. It's scripted, it's predetermined, it's not real. But even when it's not real, at least look credible and legitimate so that if someone sees you watching it, you're not going to be embarrassed. Well, Chris Jericho, because of his physique, and look, I'm not one to fat shame, but I think in pro wrestling, it's pretty much fundamental to have a really good physique, because that comes with the territory of being someone who fans can get behind and be legitimately behind. Because realistically, yes, you have people like Keith Lee who are absurdly talented, but when real casual fans like this NBA mob come and see you, how are they going to react? Ha ha ha, this is some fat guy bum, why should I take them seriously? This right here, this NBA community, fat shaming Chris Jericho ruthlessly on Twitter last night, this right here, essentially, in and of itself, not fully, but to an extent, is why, personally speaking, I've never got behind Kevin Owens. Because Kevin Owens is one of these many wrestlers who, well, Owens particularly, doesn't look like someone who looks like a legitimate wrestler. And really, in the eyes of casual fans, that's very important. Because you see by these tweets, I'm just going to read some of them again, just to jog your memory. Chris Jericho a king in this knockoff WWE, huh? Celtics win and Chris Jericho is fat. Good vibes only. Chris Jericho, fat as hell. Chris Jericho looks awful. You get the point, okay? Pro wrestlers, physiques especially, is quintessential for pro wrestling. Chris Jericho, many people, especially in the anti-smart fraternity, have made Chris Jericho's physique a thing for the past, couple years, really. Because ever since, I dare say 2017, 2018, Jericho, not that he's gotten fat, but you can really see kind of age starting to hit his body and all that kind of stuff, which, I mean, fair enough. The dude's been in pretty good condition for his whole career, but yeah, age starting to catch up to him. You remember that mirror selfie he took, I forget when, a couple months back, for his 50th birthday, took a mirror selfie, he got clowned for that. I think when it comes to Jericho, and just pro wrestlers especially, just, you need to look like a wrestler. This is the fundamental thing which underpins why pro wrestling nowadays isn't as popular. It's a big combination of factors, but this one is getting addressed in this video because of these NBA fans clowning Jericho. Because put yourself in the position of these casual NBA fans. Forget that you're a wrestling fan, because if you're watching my content, you're a wrestling fan, okay? Forget that. Put yourself in the position of these casual viewers. You see AEW Dynamite following the NBA. You're thinking to yourself, oh, what's this on? AEW Dynamite? What's AEW? What is Dynamite? Let's see what this is. So you finish the NBA game. You say to yourself, I'm going to give this show 10 minutes before I go to bed. I'm going to give this show 10 minutes before I go off and do what I'm going to do. So Dynamite comes on. They do the big fancy intro. You're thinking, okay, AEW Dynamite, this seems intriguing. And then Chris Jericho comes out there alongside MJF. Chris Jericho, someone who you'd probably recognize the name of, probably recognize him because he's been around the industry forever. He's synonymous with pro wrestling. You see Jericho and think, oh, this promotion is Jericho. And then you see what he looks like now, and you think, oh, why should I take this seriously? This is a pissant wrestling company. Chris Jericho topless, looking like a 60-year-old just obese guy. Like that's what these casual fans think. And in turn, going forward, they're going to think, AEW, All Elite Wrestling, Dynamite, what, the one with Fat Jericho? That's what these people are going to think. That's what, I'd say, tens of thousands of NBA fans and tens of thousands of casuals are going to think after last night. Because, what they did last night, go from the NBA into Chris Jericho and MJF versus Top Flight. We see Chris Jericho repping his physique, and it's a clown show, okay? Now, I'm not going to make this video a whole thing about fat shaming. I don't care if you're, fat, skinny, you're black, white, Hispanic. I don't care what you are, what you identify as, who you are, all that kind of stuff, okay? What I'm trying to say in this video is that from a purely pro wrestling standpoint, casual fans last night looked at Chris Jericho and made an absolute mockery of the guy. Casual fans saw Chris Jericho as the top guy in the promotion with that physique and said to themselves, this is a joke, this company can't be serious, I don't care about AEW. And that right there is a giant problem. That right there goes to show you that Chris Jericho, either his in-ring days as an active competitor are behind him, and he needs to focus on either commentary, broadcasting, just being in segments and not wrestling, or if he's going to wrestle, have a top on. Just right there, that's quintessential. And not just Jericho, but just wrestlers in general. This is what really it showed me, is that wrestlers, if they don't even look like wrestlers, okay, as I said earlier in the video, wrestling is as niche as it is. Wrestling is as joked about and laughed at as it is. It's guys in their underwear fake fighting, okay? That's what it is. And then you look at that kind of pro wrestling, and if you're going to do that, at least have guys who look like they can beat the crap out of each other in a legitimate, credible way. Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, even guys like Brian Cage and Wardlow, these types. But instead, what you do is have Jericho, someone who's physically so past his prime it's not funny, walking out there shirtless, getting fat shamed for just all night on NBA Twitter and wrestling Twitter and just in general. So, yeah, that's basically the video. I'm going to wrap it up there. I don't want to go on about this any longer than I need to. Chris Jericho getting absolutely roasted and fat-shamed by NBA Twitter and just the casual community. It really does underpin the biggest kind of problem with pro wrestling nowadays, or one of the biggest problems, just aesthetically, the looks of these wrestlers. Wrestlers, granted, back in the day, would pump themselves with steroids and, actually really focus on weight training. And nowadays, that isn't as much of a thing, which is a bit of an issue because, to look like a wrestler is fundamental as far as being a great talent. So, yeah, anyway, let's wrap this up. I'm going to wrap the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and drill. See ya.